This is going to be a very personal set of remarks for me because Aidoo is one of the writers I have long admired. One thing has been constant in my life, my love for reading and writing. That's how I stumbled across my first Aidoo book, rummaging through my parents' extensive library. For me, leafing through her book, my first memory of Aidoo's work was how vivid her writing was, at least for me. Reading her words, I could visualize every scene, each character, and I was right there with them, immersed in each character's scene. That's when I became a fan. Okay, maybe not just a fan, but a nerdy fan. And if many of you remember, nerdy fans back then, one thing was very characteristic. We would take the person's name and then write a poem about that person. Do you remember? Well, that's what I did. So with my growing admiration, I wrote a poem about her in the late 70s, and that was that. Together with all my scribblings back then, I put that in a brown manila folder and forgot completely about it. Until one bright sunny day in November when Honorable Kojoyanka called and said, guess what? We are going to name a center in honor of Aidoo. And then I knew I had to find that poem. So I unearthed the writing last month, still stuffed in the brown manila envelope, and as I read it, I cringed at every word. It's been over 20 years. So I put it away. But this week, as I was putting my opening remarks together and trying to talk about this amazing woman, my mind kept going back to the poem because it represents the most honest words I could ever say today about this remarkable lady. And really, the thing about writing is that when it is done, it's no longer yours. So these words have been in the brown manila folder for far too long, and today I'm going to read that poem. So using the first letters in her name, Aidoo, allow me to talk about this amazing woman through the words of the nerdy poem written by this stubborn girl many, many years ago. Aidoo, marvelously writing about things which are always helping me to escape, taking me to a magical place. Although you towered above all other writers of your generation, you are ageless in your youthful energy and passion for writing. That I could have an ounce of your talent, a seed of your integrity, a pint of your discipline, creativity, and commitment. Oh, Aidoo, a true Ghanaian treasure. Oh, Aidoo, Ghana's legendary writer and poet.
Who else can communicate better than creative writers? Fellow Africans, our choice of an African icon, an African writer who embodies the role model of the values Africa possesses and has been searching for it, is our toast for today. I must clarify that our choice personality is not the only African writer who fits into the mold I have described, but she represents all African intellectuals who stand up for reshaping our minds and thoughts to propel the decolonization of our minds from foreign domination. She means different things to different people, Africans and non-Africans, but she's relentless in being herself, the African woman, the African mother. Fellow Africans and invited guests, our choice for inspiration of the African youth of today is the celebrated Aidoo. The Aidoo Center for Creative Writing is a not-for-profit unit of AUCC, and all funds raised or endowed to it will be used exclusively for the promotion of the activities at the center.
Calling names of gods and death in nightmares and blues and moons. Then she came, sat by me, pulled me up to stand, to dance in villages and cities. The girl who can, she is someone talking to sometimes about large, tiny things like birds and people like our sister Killjoy. When there was no sweetness here, she wrote an angry letter in January and created changes. She stayed. After the ceremonies, she stayed and held us close to her chest and fed the eagle and the chickens and freed the ghost from their dilemmas. After the ceremonies, she stays to throw us hope in daylight and darkness. Thank you.
The best writing does a lot with a few words. What I'm here to do is ask you to join us in starting something transformative for individuals and for society. What I am here to do is ask you to think of how much more we can all contribute to real change. Because if we put the writing aside for a minute and do some maths, we'll understand how our society, and some of the ones that our government seek to imitate, how our society brims with frustration. Social mobility is founded largely on education, and sex too, but that's less predictable. Now, if you were one of 30 kids in a class, and you all made it somehow, and you all had 2 kids, by the time those 2 kids are ready to go to school, one of the people in your class of 30 should have started a new class, a new school. Otherwise, 30 kids will have nowhere to go if the class sizes are to remain the same. Therein lies the fundamental problem of our overcrowded schools, underpaid, sometimes underqualified teachers, and frustrated youth. If you take nothing home at all with you, and I hope you don't take much because we're fundraising, take at least that thought. We have collectively been letting our country down. We invest nothing but school fees in education and expect our kids to have what we had. It's not possible without greater investment in planning, in conceiving, in building a system that's not state-dependent, but need-dependent. And that is why I am honored to have been given the chance to start the Aidoo Center for Creative Writing. Because we can't keep teaching the exact same way when the world is changing around us. We can't inspire generations if we do not raise and honor the excellent people that came before us. Aidoo is an extraordinary writer. Extraordinary not just because of the work per se, but because the work is never safe. And risk-taking is what produces revolutionary results. Her novel Changes is a tour de force in feminist activism. Our Sister Killjoy is a work of unfettered experimentation with form. Work like that is not easy for publishers to get behind because it flouts the rules and it must compensate by its brilliance of ideas, of language, of context. Aidoo's legacy of risk-taking is part of what I hope that this center will inherit. It is also perhaps one of the reasons I am here.
Uncharacteristically for me, I have struggled a bit about what to say today. But in character also, I have settled on 4 things. The first thing is that Aidoo is a completely Ghanaian-made creation. It's important. I feel like I have to say that all the time. The parts of her creation starts on some stretches of road in the central region that includes villages and towns like Ekumfi Asafa, Enyan Denchira, Inkusum Kwanta, Abiazi Domnasi, Abiazi Chapel, It continues on to Takoradi and Cape Coast and the homes of number 14 for. Continues on to Wesley Girls, goes to Accra, where her mentors were, one of whom is here today, includes homes in Nima and Araba Mansa, goes back to Cape Coast University of my childhood. It is all Ghanaian made. Her feminism, her Pan-Africanism, her socialism, her sensibilities, her storytelling, her experimentation with form, and the fact that she's a writer, everything is Ghanaian made. Sometimes we tend to doubt our own selves. We are a great people because we produce great people, and we are very capable. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, she's sitting there smiling. You need to fix your scarf. The first thing is, everything she has, the only thing she wants to do at any given moment is write. She's sitting here close to tears because Professor Nketia is sitting behind her. She's enjoying this. But if you gave her an option, she would rather be in a room writing, which is also wonderful for her because it's the best thing she has ever done and will continue to do. And I say this even as her daughter, it is the best thing my mother has done for me. So we are all equal. But then wanting to write all the time has also introduced the biggest challenge in her life, which is something she terms finding the space to write. If you ask her what are her worries, it is, of course, Ghana, Africa in the condition. But it is finding the space to write. And with space, she means physical space, as in a room that is quiet and no one bothers her. As in societal space, so that being who she is, she's not called upon to be who she is all the time in Ghana. You see what I mean? Oh, Aidoo, please do this. No, she wants societal space. She wants familial space, and that also includes parenting space. So when I was growing up, she would be sitting at her desk and I would want something, and she's like, go away, I'm writing, I didn't mind that so much because she was happiest when, she's always been happiest and most content when she's writing. The space to write also means financial space. So all the spaces that people need, all the spaces that you can imagine, my mother has wanted that space and the distance away from all that to write. The other thing I want to say is that this center represents all those things, that it is Ghanaian made, it gives people a space to write, and it encourages people to do the things that they may want to do the most, which is writing.
It's quite atypical. I walk on tippy toes. I rather go damn. We don't get lights, so can't depend on sights. Me and my air lights don't give a damn. Bottle of apathy, cripple us happily. Boys get visa and think they be the man. If you're my man, 50 grand, then no joke. You get contract, save me my envelope. Slippery slope to flourish and cope. They beat you with binging on hope. Empty promises sold on a daily. I should join the Navy so I can be wavy. First you didn't worry. Single ain't happy, married ain't either. Rich, depressed, poor, can't catch a breather. Can't even tell the nightmare from the dreams. Oh mercy me nasty, but mercy queen. Slim one thick, the thick on a diet. Papa's noisy, Papa tears on the quiet. Don't even try it, it will be needless. Charlie Mantaya so hard on my sleeveless. First you don't worry. Nowhere cool. The life we done live on this side is so peculiar to describe. But bought me a ticket for this girl trip. Now let's ride. I've sacrificed my personal life to be creative, get the music right. But if this album doesn't make me happy and rich, I'll gladly hang up the mic. Though I might miss it some days and some nights, rather get coolie living the young life. Tears don't discriminate between me and you, but I'd rather grind the BMW. Over there, I feel boys in blue. Over here, Doomsday gives me the blues. Over there, fake news is the news. Over here, same thing, that you knew. Baby girl, you I won't marry. My mom forget cookie for dowry. Saving all my love for Valentine. In time I have eternal clementine. Never say never, but I said it. 35 forever, I swear it. When you left, none of us was ready. How did you become the late so early? Nowhere cool. Nowhere, nowhere. Nowhere cool. Nowhere cool. Nowhere, nowhere. Nowhere cool. Area.
There was no way I was going to pass up an opportunity to celebrate with you all today and to honor a woman whose words have shaped my understanding of my place in the world as a woman, as a writer, and as an African. Those three sides of my life combined, or in any combination, depending on the circumstances. I would like to congratulate the Governing Council, management and staff of African University College of Communications. I can only imagine the hard work that has gone into making this happen. And I congratulate the students too, because in years to come, when people are talking about the latest writers from Ghana who are dazzling the whole world with the way they've rewritten the rules of fiction and of poetry, you'll be able to say, I used to sit next to that girl at the buttery. Or that boy's room was next to mine. And of course, I congratulate Nii Aikwe Parks, the director of the new Aidoo Center, whose energy and leadership has contributed immensely to bringing this idea to fruition. I congratulate literary icon, our mother in words, Ama Ata Aidoo, for whom this creative writing center is named. May your name continue to be associated with the wonderful ideas that lift Africa up. So, on behalf of all Nigerians, I say to you Ghanaians, congratulations. And on behalf of Nigerians, I say to you Ghanaians, game on. The problem was never that I am black and you are white, or not only that. And much as I wish I had 2 whole legs like you, plus a half, and given my life, I could even have done with an extra arm, a third eye that saw not just into me, but you and others and things. I could have loaned you a little fat too. Hello? I could have loaned you a little fat too to help you through those cold mornings at Hamatan and the even colder nights of your winter. Friend, height was not missed much, except when I needed to reach the upper shelves of my existence, from where I would want occasionally to bring down my forgotten hopes, aspirations, plans, and projects to be dusted. When I would wish fondly that I had one such as you around, with a long arm that could elegantly reach for the treetops to pick the ripest and most succulent successes from the skies. Oh, my brother, the decision to sever and separate was not based on the knowledge of me as a forever dreamer, unable and incapable of handling the clear world of take and take and take. While you could comprehend the motions of survival and move with the speed of a hare in a burning grassland, I am cutting loose, my dear, for only one reason. I do not know where else you go, whom else you meet when we part. I've had to learn that these other associations live. The connections are there and tight. The commitments are real. The allegiances binding. And the reverberations from them have a way of coming at me, shaking my foundations, affecting me negatively. I have nightmared of different gatherings after we had parted, where two you sit at center stage, where they call up names to censure characters, to assassinate, plot our undoings, and you do not say anything. You do not own up to knowing me well or our comradeship and what I thought was our mutual understanding. So my dear, my love, I am gone, I am through, I cannot show up for the meeting tonight or any other night, anywhere, ever again. No, my dear, my friend, I cannot show up tonight. I won't be there. I am gone. Thank you.